Morning, everyone. I'm your host, Shashi, with you all on Women Dialogues to create more voice for women and by women. And today, our guest is very close to me, a very good friend of mine. We know from couple of years, and I know her how she influenced my own life. The same way, I want to take this journey ahead to get your life influenced in a positive manner. Annette. She is connecting with us from United Kingdom. She is positive intelligence mental fit. We will correct later. Maybe I'm location. She will tell where she is connecting with us. And if you would like to connect with particular location, we will make it. We will hear from her. She is positive intelligence mental fitness coach. She is master sophrologist and she's a speaker and founder of Be Chill program under the Truly Balance her company. She is having a lot of points, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom to share with us and to inspire, to motivate us. So not just sit behind, get deep into this knowledge and its wisdom by getting hear from her how she is doing, what she is doing, how she has influenced my life. Let's welcome our today's speaker, Annette. Annette, welcome on the Global Women Dialogue Talk Show.
Thank you very much, Shashi, and I really appreciate this opportunity. It's wonderful. I've listened to your blog a few times, and it's fantastic what you're doing. And, you know, in our world, we do need to give women a bigger voice, and part of that is helping empower women more to kind of follow our true path and to find out what is it that we want in life. And just a little bit about my life. I'm Canadian. And I started my life off as a civil engineer, and I was the only woman that graduated from my class. And so that was a while ago. It tells you a little bit my age. Yeah. When I first started working, I was the only woman in the office that was an engineer. We had an accountant that was a female, and then all the secretaries. So it was a really different experience. And I stayed in engineering for several years. I designed bridges and tunnels I was a concrete specialist. But I moved away from that, doing an MBA, and then moved into sustainable development. And that was the first time I moved abroad and lived in Switzerland, which is where I'm living now. I'm actually in Switzerland. And I do a lot of work in the UK, but I am actually located in Switzerland.
Yes.
And yeah, from there, I ended up in Singapore, and I was there for a number of years. And this is where I gave birth to both of my children. And it was at that time that I met someone who kind of guided me and said, you know, you really need to be in the body and mind world, not in the sustainability, the concrete world. This isn't for you. I'm like, really? So I thought, okay, well, I'll give this a go because I'm very curious. I'm a very curious person my whole life. Did lots of different things as a kid as well. And so that's how the journey started. So it was in Singapore that I started studying the body. So reflexology, massage, aromatherapy. And then we went to the United States. And then from there, we ended up back here in Switzerland, which is when I started studying sophrology. And I really was brought to sophrology because I wanted to learn something to help myself, because I'm a very energetic person and always doing different things. And people would say, oh, you're going to have a breakdown. You're going to have a breakdown. It's like, no, I'm not going to have a breakdown. But the move here the second time was I was done, like as a mom, and then remaking my business. Every time we moved, I'd have to start over. And I just thought, okay, I am so done with this. But I stumbled upon sophrology. I thought, okay, I'll study this. Why not? And it really helped me because it's a dynamic form of relaxation. So for me, because I'm very energetic, I'm a runner, you know, you do all these movements before you meditate, before you do visualization. And it just spoke to me. Because I had tried yoga and I just couldn't stay in one pose for a long time. I can do it now, but before sophrology, I couldn't. So it really kind of changed the way I looked at things. And sophrology, it's quite broad. It's a really broad practice. And it takes you into full consciousness is what I would say. And it's a mix between Western medicine and philosophies and Eastern practices. And it's a good blend. It was developed in the 1960s here in Switzerland. So it's not very well known in other countries. And that kind of is my base. That's what I use when I start working with people all the time. So from that, I developed Truly Balanced, my company. And then I started working with students, teaching them some sophrology techniques. And that's when I developed the Be Chill program, which is pretty much for adolescents and kids. And I use that program in schools.
Yeah. So, and it seems very interesting the way you are bringing your previous specialization from engineering, and then developing all the way this truly balanced, such a beautiful way that your company, and how you are bringing these all your experiences, your knowledge as engineer, as a sophrologist, and in the young kids, in the your programs. So when we are talking about your work, your experiences, and you are connecting with us from Switzerland, as that's again very beautiful way to connect and to reflect this sophrologist, and the along with environment and beauty. So Annette, when we are talking about, you are currently working as a truly balanced, and you brought a little bit about your background, how you find, when we are talking about your work, current work, and your previous experiences, how they align, and how you find that you are able to give something extra when somebody is trying to work with you.
Well, so thanks for asking, Shashi. Well, I used to build bridges, concrete bridges, and now I build bridges within the mind. So we have these things called synapses, and I build stronger bridges, positive, optimistic bridges in the synapses in the brain. But then I'm also building bridges between the mind and the body, and then the mind, the body, and the emotions. So it's, you know, it's a I'm building a super highway within the body. Now, I also, I'm a cardiac coherence coach, and in that we use, we actually do, it's more heart-centered breathing. It's a slightly different system, but in that system, we're really looking at improving heart rate variability, and there's lots of science behind it, and how it improves your vitality, and it enables you to respond to things versus react. So there, it's more like building bridges between the heart and the mind, which is kind of interesting, and the rest of the body. And then with the positive intelligence coaching, that is looking at, we look at our saboteurs. So the things that sabotage our success, and we all have these, and there are 10 lead saboteurs and the judge, and we all have the judge. And then we look at the sage powers and the sage perspective. And what we do is I work with people to have them recognize the saboteurs, intercept them, and then use the sage powers. So again, it's building another bridge. So I still consider myself to be a bridge builder, in a sense. But I would say though, because I'm a very curious person and I have multiple degrees, but besides that, it's the experiences of living in different countries. And when I first moved here to Switzerland, I mean, I had never really left North America, and I was 30. I think I had gone to, I'd come to Switzerland to travel once. So, but otherwise I'd really, you know, was traveled to Canada or the US. And then coming here, it really opened my mind, like, to all the different languages. And back then we had different money. There was no euro. So it was just such a different, it was so rich. The experience was so rich. And I realized that for all that I knew, I didn't know anything. And I just wanted to learn more. And history suddenly came to life. Like, I was this technical person most of my life, but whoa, suddenly it's like, no, there's all this stuff about culture and why this happened and that happened and how this happened. And then when we moved to Singapore, it was again another complete thing. And really, I dove into the different faiths within Singapore. I became a docent at the Natural History Museum so that I could learn more about Singapore itself and the different cultures within the whole region. And that was the best way to do it, because I had to learn it, because I had to teach it. So it was great. And I was fascinated. And then we moved to the US, which the US and Canada are very different. People always say they're the same, but they're not. And I was living in the South. So I had that whole experience as well. And then back to Switzerland. So, you know, and while I guess once I moved here, I started traveling more. And then when I was in Asia, I traveled a tremendous amount. And my daughter was born in Singapore. Before she turned 1, she had been in 9 countries. So my kids, you know, I made sure, I was like, I want them to experience life and people and have different senses. And when you're young and exposed to those things, they're somehow ingrained in the body, you know, like these senses, the smells, and they become more
Right.
familiar and comfortable. And
Mhm.
we traveled to Cambodia and we started supporting Saksabai, and it's a rescue
Mhm.
center for children.
Mhm.
And we started that 23 years ago. And the woman there, I swear she's a saint, Marie Kamel, and she actually, she rescues kids from the dump, from the streets.
Mhm.
Sometimes moms bring their kids there. She's got 65 kids that she takes from whatever age, all through high school, and then helps support them in sort of university or vocational training. It's a fabulous program, but we've been heavily involved with them for years. And you know, it's stuff like that that I'm just so grateful that I've moved around, met all these different people, because it just has enriched my life, and I bring that into my work.
Right.
And bring that.
Yeah. So, Annette, when we are hearing your different experience, different diversity, inclusiveness you are bringing in your work, and over years of travel with your work regarding your interests, you traveled and you gained. How you find it is important when we are talking about creating program, giving and developing leadership, developing work, and having work with others, how it is important to bring those senses. You are now working with your own kids to develop those senses as well, and you develop in your life as well. You shared when you moved first time in your life, you was like hold the all the ways. Wow, it's new world, new things. And I believe many people feel the same way. But what way, if they would like to develop, they would like to work with truly balance, how you feel they can develop that?
So I think developing that, it's about developing tolerance, you know, for others. And you know, we're in a global world. So wherever you're working, you're exposed to people from different cultures right now. You know, we just move around so much, and we also travel on vacation. It's very different on vacation now, because I always, I'm a very spiritual person. So I would take, whenever we travel, we always go to different spiritual places as well, because I want, you know, every religion is so beautiful, and it's finding the beauty in each religion. And my children have had friends from very different religions, and it's always mixing them. And we would bring kids to our church. My kids would go to the mosque or to the synagogue. You know, it was beautiful. So it's tolerance. And I believe, you know, you can help develop people's tolerance by talking to them about their belief system. So it's going through a whole list of, okay, so this is your belief system, and it's your belief system because it's what you know. So we have our beliefs, we have values, we have our ethics, there's morals. They're all slightly the same, but they're slightly different too. So we can tap into these through different modalities of relaxation, because when we get into certain spaces, we then introduce things, and you sense the body, and you find out why is it that I don't have tolerance for this? And then we explore, how can I develop the tolerance for that? So it's an exploration. And I really do think tolerance and acceptance are some key things that we need more of in the world. And, you know, for women, I think authenticity is quite important. And I know you through your involvement with Inspired Women Lead, which is a program that's dear to my heart. And I'm one of the charter members of the association. And you know, in Inspired Women Lead, we talk a lot about this as well. And I mean, I love mentoring women who are working as well. I find, even myself, I often have a coach that I work with. Could be a business coach, could be a spiritual coach. So I do work with different people all the time. And it's one of those things that it helps us. And it's one of those things we almost all of us sort of need to help us be the best person that we can be in this lifetime. You know, what is it, where is it, and what is it that we want to do? And it's a big question. And sometimes we don't ask that question until we're in our 50s. And so one of the reasons why I work with adolescents, and I also work with young adults like in their 20s, is helping them discover sort of what I call their existential self early. why do we have to wait? We should be teaching this earlier, because I believe it's going to make business and the world, politics, much better.
Mhm.
We're going to speak more the truth. Right now, there's so much untruth in the world.
Right. So,
We
Annette,
have our own.
when you are talking about your work and those connections, you are having very successful program, Be Chill. What it is all about? I believe you work with a lot of adolescent and as well as with other age group as well. What is all about? Would you like to share with us?
No, thanks for asking. Yeah. So Be Chill is for adolescents, and it started off just helping students who are finding the teenage years a bit challenging. So I run them
Mm-hmm.
at schools, and it's sometimes it's an after school program. Other times it's students that come to me one-to-one who might have anxiety issues, or they could be having issues fitting in socially. There's also a program I run all year long. And it's more about self-leadership, so that they can become happy with who they are. As a adolescent right now, it's really challenging because of social media, and they all have a phone, and I didn't grow up with a phone. So no, if someone was talking behind my back, it was at school. It wasn't on the phone. It wasn't all over the world. Now it's complicated. So I think adolescents need some guidance to learn how to be happy with who they are, and not try to be something that they're not. And that's what the Be Chill program does, as well as it prepares students for exams who are really anxious. And I get students that are super, super bright, like the top students. I get students that, find it a little more challenging. I get students that maybe are dyslexic or ADD. So I get all kinds of different students. It's for every student, really. And I should say adolescent. And it's about building confidence for them, some self-esteem as well, and teaching them how to really relax the nervous system, so that they can drop into the space where they're what we call in the zone. Because I've also worked with some adolescent athletes too. I like working with them as well, just to help get them in the zone, so that nothing gets in their way when they're sitting down to write an exam, or doing a performance, or speaking in front of a group, that sort of thing. But I love the program, because I love working with the
So,
younger age group. It's quite
So,
rewarding.
Annette, you are talking about here this beautiful program which you do for adolescent kids and athletes. Would you like to bring maybe some impactful work or story where you worked and you found yourself wow moment?
Wow moment. For an adolescent, I have to think. Well, there's quite a few, actually.
Mhm.
There's quite a few. So, because I just finished my year-long program with one of the schools, and so in my class, there were a couple of the students who had taken the class the year before. So I was surprised to see them in the class the second year. And because it's the same class all year long. And as they were kind of leaving, give them a hug, which in schools we're not supposed to do that. Although I kind of like become their auntie in a way, you know, through the course of the year. So three of the students that had taken the course before, they all said, "Oh, well, I'm taking the course again next year." And I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah. I just love coming to your class." I'm like, "Okay." And a couple of them had brought friends, and so the friend is going to join too. And I thought, "Oh, this is so lovely," And it's because I really give them a safe place to really be themselves. There's no
Mhm.
judgment in the classroom when I'm working with them, so it helps them really develop and who they want to be. And one of the students in particular, at first I didn't think she was paying much attention, but then I do these quizzes, at the end of each term. We do them on a thing called Kahoot. Anyway, she got the top score. I'm like, okay, she pays a lot more attention than I think, and she's also putting the stuff in practice because she remembers it all,
Right.
you know? So it was pretty good. But I've had some of my athletes, one of them, she won the Swiss wakeboard championship for under 18-year-olds. And she was having an issue. She had a bad fall. So doing one of the particular moves, it was blocking her. So we went, and oh goodness, I had her in her full gear on her wakeboard, but I had her tied up to, we weren't on the water, and going through all the motions, because this is what we can do, and it was great. It was super, super successful. So it was lovely. And then there's just some other students who you know, through the course of the year, um, just to see them grow from some traumatic experiences that they've had to move into this happy, smiling person by the end. It's, to me, that's super satisfying.
Mhm. Yeah. So when we are talking about all these successful stories of work which you are doing and creating a movement for those children or for young adults or for athletes, how you find such kind of work we need to spread out more, we need to work for more, or maybe we need to bring in our curriculum system when we talk about education and all.
Yeah. Actually, wait, I just thought of one other successful story was when my daughter graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have like a National Honor Society. And
Mm-hmm.
on the National Honor Society, 80% of those kids had taken my course at one point or another. So I thought to myself, okay, you know, this stuff, I mean, it really works when you see all of these kids in the National Honor Society. It's like, yep, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And really bright kids really have a lot of doubt too, you know, so we need to help them feel confident and comfortable being bright, because sometimes that
Right.
can be a challenge.
Yeah.
And for the schools, I do, you know, I mean, I think it's challenging being a teacher today. There's so much that these students need to be taught. So I really do think it's challenging. I think there's a lot of expectations from parents about what the school can do. And we need, in some ways, you know, we don't need more parent involvement, but in some ways we need parents to be more hands-on in some ways with their own kids. Like, you know, there's some parents are very hands-off, some are more hands-on, and it's just through the teenage years they need to look for signs and different things, and because they change, and we need to be more aware of that. So I think within the schools, when we have programs like this that teach self-awareness, self-esteem, confidence, it's much better for the school, let alone for the students, because it changes the way they interact with each other. It changes the way they interact with the teachers as well. And it also helps change the way they interact with their parents. So, you know, overall, programs like this, I think, are necessary in every school. You know, and I do work with a lot of the parents as well. So, you know, because they know me through their working with their um, adolescents, and then they'll say, oh, I'd like to learn that. I want to take a course in sophrology, or I'd like to do this PQ program. Tell me more about it. Because I think I'm a mom, and I have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old. But when anyone who's had a teenager in the house, it really pushes you to see who you are, because they push back. And, you know, and they also catch you. If you say one thing one day and another thing another, they catch you. So having a teenager in the house kind of pushes you to, well, I would say to sink or swim, but it's really that you then have to be confident with who you are and what your values are. So sometimes, you know, that's when people start thinking, okay, I need to get more in touch with who I am too, because I want to be a better parent. Right. So that's how I end up with a lot of
Yeah. So when we are talking about the importance, the work which you are doing, and how it is creating impact directly in the system, in the education, in the individual's student's life, how you find in current scenario when we are talking about having this global pandemic, having moreover, all these stressful events or stressful situation uh, at each level or at each place. Uh, Having this program can be a great source or great creating a truly balance, I can say, in their own work or life.
But that's a good question, actually. Thanks for asking that. So this year, I used to do most of my work in person, but this year I've moved online, of course. And it's been actually really, really good, because I can reach out to so many more people when I'm working
Mhm.
online. So I have online courses for adults. I have some corporate things that I'm doing as well. But for the students, I've had a number of schools, well, one in particular, where I've worked with all of their graduating students before they wrote their exams. So there was I had 122 on one thing and then 88 on another. So, you know, and they weren't all online at the same time, of course, because with adolescents, it's super important that they get to talk to each other and that I get to know them a little bit. So the most I kind of have on a screen at a time is going to be around 16, 17. You don't want too many because it's not nice for them. Or me, because I really want to get to know them and have an impact for them. So this year, yes, I've done a lot more of that. And it's been great. I can see, you know, the students who really take it on board. It's fantastic. And it's easy for me to set something up so they have access to all the information online. And it's made a big difference. I've had some really nice feedback from the schools and also from the students themselves, which is really great, really great. And before I don't think I ever thought that I could do this online, but yeah, it works really well online.
And how do you see yourself in your future? Do you think you are able to deliver or expand in other places or in globally as well?
Yes, I actually was in Dubai a few years ago, just before the pandemic, and I was going to go there to do some work with one of the schools there, but then the pandemic hit, so that kind of stopped. So I will pick that up for this year, and I have a sophrologist in Australia who I'm teaching her the program so she can start bringing the program through Australia. And I'll be doing that with some other sophrologists as well to start bringing the program into other countries. So it's an exciting time. And then as for my work with adults, I've started the online courses, and I also have some corporate courses that now can be delivered online. So especially the positive intelligence, it's actually set up really, really well to work within corporations with small teams or the whole corporation. And it kind of gives the positive intelligence, we call it mental fitness training, and it gives people what we call a common operating system or language to use within teams and within the office when things, when people's saboteurs or when things get in the way of progress. Once everyone's talking the same language, they can use that language to help pull the other person more into what we call the sage power, so that, you know, you can find a solution that works for everyone. So the training is very solution oriented, and not only do you as a person become more self-aware, but it also spills over into everything you do within your organization and as well with your family. So it's great. Right. It's a great program.
Yeah, that seems very interesting and wonderful, and all the very best for your future projects. So Annette, moving ahead, you are developing your way to develop these all programs, and I believe you have your own leadership style as well. How you define your leadership style?
My leadership style is energetic.
Yes,
I like to move around. Yes, no, I'm a woman of energy, and I also you know, I'm not one for a lot of I would say confusing terminology. I like to keep things simple. Simple things people understand, and I work from the heart. You know, I really work from the heart, and I connect with everyone that I work with, even if I'm doing an online class, because it matters to me. So I work from the heart, and I really work with energy, and I definitely go the extra mile when necessary. So I have on my website, I talk about, it's all about the energy, you know, transforming energy into calm confidence, or transferring your energy into empowerment, right? And so I have a little acronym for the energy, and the E is for expanding your awareness, and the N is about nourishing the self. And then the second E is about existence, like where, you know, what was the beginning of my life story? What do I want the end to be? Because I really am the creator of my life. And then R is for the relaxation. You know, I teach so many different forms of relaxation techniques that, you know, you pick the one that works for you. So the good thing is, maybe this doesn't work, but this will work. So people get to experience different things with me, and then we can work with the one that really talks to their energy. And then the G is for groove. It's like finding your talents, helping you change your habits and move yourself into action. And then the final Y is yourself, because it's all about moving beyond your pre-existing beliefs, your pre-existing limitations, into who you really want to be. So that's my little acronym for energy, because I think it's all about the energy.
That's really energetic, the way you explain. And when we are talking about your website, your work and all, are you planning in coming future any program or any something, and how, if you are planning, how we can find, is it there on your website, or how they can reach out if our audience would like to connect with you?
Thank you, Shashi. Right now, I don't have all of my programs up on the site. They will be up there hopefully in the next few months. I'll get them all up. We have some positive intelligence webinars coming up. I have sophrology webinars coming up, and then these all spill into courses that will be starting in the fall. So yes, all of this could be found on the website eventually. However, now it's the best thing is just to reach out to me at my email, Annette@trulybalanced.com. It's quite simple. Or through Instagram. I'm on Instagram, I'm Truly Balanced, and I'm also on Facebook. So I respond to all of those, or LinkedIn, Annette Ebbinghaus on LinkedIn. And I do post all of my webinars on LinkedIn. It's probably the best place if you're in business to find me.
Right. And we will put all the your details and your work details in the description as well. Moving ahead, last but not least, how do you find having a global platform like Women Dialogues talk show is important or is needed to create women voice globally?
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's very important because women in our world, we need a bigger voice. We need to be hearing from other women, because we really do all experience similar things. And we think we're on our own a lot, but we're not. And dialogue is the way forward for everything. Like if there was a conflict, if there's confusion, it's always dialogue. And Women in Dialogue helps us support each other. And again, just like the Inspired Women Lead program, I think it's very, very important that we women help other women be successful, not just in their work life, but in their personal life and their personal journey. So yes, I'm here to help any woman who wants to improve her own personal journey, which your Women in Dialogue also helps. So thank you very much for this podcast.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Annette, for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your work with us, with our audience, to inspire and to motivate. As in beginning, I told my audience that you are a figure who inspire and motivate, and I have experienced personally. So I believe our audience today will take in the same way. They got little inspiration and motivation. And if you are looking for more work or some connection, or would like to develop further, get connect with Annette. Her details are available in the description as well. And keep yourself in the same path. Get inspiration, get motivation, and keep growing together, develop together. We are here in this journey. With this same note, I would like to say, stay safe, take care, bye-bye.